Oh boy, here we go. It feels like every fandom has this at one point or another, so I'm gonna do one for Symphogear. I'm just gonna cut right to the point. This is an iceberg video. The higher it is, the more well known or less cursed it is. The lower, the less known or more cursed it is. Anyways, let's begin. Be Stroganoff, that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a song that Yumi, Kyo, and Shiori sing in Symphogear GX. Last Action Hero, this is what Vera refers to himself as and is one of his nicknames in the fandom. Fine's English, this refers to a scene in Season 1 where Fine speaks English with a bit of an accent. What's more noticeable is that Fine's Japanese voice actress actually can speak pretty fluent English. Hibimiku, it's the ship between Hibiki and Miku. Yeah. Ganganir dato, which is a phrase said by Gendro in almost every season at least one point or another. Madoka fans, this one's another simple one. Hibiki's voice actress, Yuki, also voices Madoka from, Madoka, and as a result there are a lot of fans since this is also a non-standard Magical Girl series. Chris Hentai. Whether for better or worse, Chris has the most amount of loot content of any of the characters. It's to the point where if you search her name into the search bar for Google Images, you will see a loot image of her fairly soon. Watch Symphogear. This is the main phrase of the entire fandom. Whenever people ask what is this, they just say watch Symphogear. You see something out of context and they want an explanation, they'll just say watch Symphogear. It's just it's probably the most famous memes of literally everything on this list. The Bible. Symphogear has a lot of biblical themes in it, such as the fact that, Fine raising that tower, which is pretty much based on the Tower of Babel, as well as the fact that Hibiki's Gungnir is also based on the spear that pierced Jesus Christ's body, which is why it has the divine slaying properties. Kanade dies in episode 1. Kanade dies in episode 1. There you go. Kirishira. Probably the next most popular ship behind Hibimiku, Kirika and Shirabe. Kanazuba. This is the ship between Kanade and Tsubasa. This is the first of the ships, and we'll talk about the next two in the next tier. Oh boy. Lyrical Nanaha fans. This one is another example of an overlapping fandom. In Nanaha's case, it's mainly due to the fact that A, a good chunk of the friendship here comes from kicking ass, and B, Tsubasa's voice actress, Nana Mizuki, also voices Fate in Lyrical Nanaha. Alright, and now we enter the second stage. This has some jokes that are a little less known, but you can still see them around here and there. Anyways, starting off, Strawberry Jam. This is the fan term whenever there's bloody scenes, namely such as Kanade's linker overdose. Suba Mari versus Suba Chris. By far the biggest shipping war in the entire fandom is the argument between which Tsubasa ship is better. The argument still hasn't ended to this day. Wild Arms. The Symphogear director also previously worked on this series, and there are quite a few references in the show itself. Rice and Rice. Hibiki's favorite food is rice. Precure fans. Pretty much that's the same thing as Madoka and Nanaha fans. It's a magical girl. You're gonna find fandom overlap here and there. Maria dojins. Similar to the Chris Hentai, Maria has quite a few dojins about her. Probably because she's the oldest one. Des. Kirika's verbal tick, which she says in pretty much almost every sentence. Being Tsubasa is suffering. Oh, I love this one. Just Tsubasa. Her life sucks, man. Ayahi puns. Chris's voice actress is well known for making puns. Determination to fist. This is the tagline for Symphogear GX, and people have made jokes about it all the time. Vera is Sugita. This is another voice actor joke since Vera is voiced by Tomokazu Sugita. Benui. This is another fan nickname, and this one mostly refers to Shirabe thanks to a bunch of the rabbit symbolism she has. Tokusatsu fans. Thanks to the fact that Symphogear is mostly focused on badass girls that can henshin to fight monsters and stuff like that, you'll find quite a few Toku fans. Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, etc. Especially Kamen Rider. Now we enter stage 3, where there are a couple of jokes you may not have heard of before. Hibimiku Chris. This is Hibimiku, but you toss Chris into the mix. Carol is a Toho. This one's the one I'm not 100% sure on. I'm pretty sure might be because of Carol's design looking like a Toho character or something. I'm not 100% sure. I don't Toho. Hibiki's charm point. Her butt. Yeah, it's her butt. XDU parallel characters. Symphogear XDU is the mobile game spin-off of the series, and it has a couple of characters from parallel universe of our main heroes. For example, Hibiki's parallel character is an edgy anti-hero. Chris's parallel character is basically just a soft cinnamon roll, etc. Ogawa is a Naruto character. He runs on water and is a ninja. There you go. Discord Gear. Discord Gear was a short-lived abridged series by Runway Tourist, who is also well known for Infinite Men and Medaka Men. It only ended up getting one episode due to real-life production issues, and it's also gone because he deleted all of his abridged videos. 4Kid Symphogear. If you saw a previous video of mine, then you probably might know what this is. And if you don't know, don't find out. It's better that you don't know. Revstar fans. Just imagine that Symphogear's the band kids and Revstar's the theater kids. There you go. Maria boobs in my mouth. This is the general reaction when someone starts watching because, well, Maria. Top Dad. This is a nickname for Hibiki's dad, and it's used in an ironic sense because he sucks. You fans. It's the same case as the previous ones. Gay magical girls punch things. There you go. And now we enter the next stage. As we keep going, things get more and more obscure. Starting with stage 4, we have Sympho Twitter. This is the Symphogear fandom presence on Twitter, and it's a cesspool of hell because there's two sides that just constantly go against each other. There have been a couple of controversies here and there, and funnily enough, the controversies are the only times the two have come together because it's usually just one person causing the issues. Chris's relic is from Fire Emblem. Okay, this one's one of the more confusing ones, but let me explain. See, Chris's relic is Ichigo, but that's not an actual existing relic, or like existing mythical weapon. The original name would have probably been something like Yufel, or something like that. But, because of a fan translation of Fire Emblem Genealogy the Holy War, they translated Yufel into Ichigo. Now, how this happened is someone put Ichigo as like an actual relic on Wikipedia, and because of that, this caused a bit of a misconception about the myth, resulting in just a lot of things happening, and eventually the Chris's relic being named Ichigo even after the whole misconception was cleared up. In other words, if Fire Emblem didn't exist, Chris would not exist. That is hilarious. Swan Song is a mistranslation. Oh boy, this is one of the big ones. See, the earlier subtitles of that signature technique subbed it as Swan Song, which lined up with how, well, Kanade died from doing that. However, Swan Song is an actual mistranslation. The actual term for it is Superb Song, and because of the Swan Song nature, people assume that it causes deaths whenever the user uses it. In actuality though, while it does cause heavy damage feedback, a Swan Song does not necessarily mean death. For example, Kanade's case was actually because her sync rate was low and she didn't take Linker that day. Serena's death was thanks to the fact that she got crushed by falling debris after being weakened by the Superb Song. Hebe. Oh boy. Okay, so going on the XDO parallel characters from above, this is mostly in Japan, but a lot of Japanese fans like shipping Hibiki with her parallel self from XDU. Yeah. Tomosato and Fujitaka as the only acceptable heads. It's no surprise in a Yuri-heavy fandom like Symphogear that male/female relationships are heavily looked down upon, well, at least when it comes to the shipping the characters. Tomosato and Fujitaka are the only exceptions to this. A lot of people do enjoy that ship, even though it's not Yuri. Miku and Chris's Season 1 hair. Now, this one was an earlier thing. See, Season 1 was animated differently compared to the rest of the series. As a result, some of the character designs are a bit different. Namely, the fact that Chris's hair was lavender instead of white in later seasons, and Miku's hair was a dark shade of green compared to the pure black it is in later seasons. The Pixiv part. Pixiv is a hell site, and you either get really, really good art or really, really bad art. That's all I'm going to say. Yu-Gi-Oh fans. Now, this one's maybe a more surprising fandom overlap, but yeah, there are a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh fans in the Symphogear fandom. This is namely due to the fact that, well, not only is the power of friendship above everything, and there's a bit of gay stuff here and there, but the main thing is that the director for Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds went on to direct Symphogear starting from G. Alright, now we're in real deep. We're on the second last layer. Let's begin. The show was your LGBTQ plus awakening. This one's kind of self-explanatory. I know a lot of people that came in straight, went out something else. Hibisuba. Now this is one of the more weird ships because not because the two characters you're shipping. No, it's a bit more less popular, but it's still the support is also strong at the same time. It's odd. See, Hibiki and Tsubasa had like a lot of shipping moments in season one, but after that it mostly just disappears. But at the same time, a lot of people still really do like the relationship and still support it, despite the fact that season one and like maybe a bit of XV is like the only content we get for those two. Symphogear mangas. There are two that come to mind when this is brought up. The first one is obviously the adaptation manga of season one that has a couple of plot differences here and there. The second one is the Shirabe cooking manga spin-off that started being published a few months ago. Heaven Ren. This was an early translation for Tsubasa's Relic Ame no Habakiri. They just gave up on this partway. The Axis Rickroll. In Season 4 of Symphogear, this is the most ridiculous thing ever, but there is a frame where a sign has the lyrics to Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. This is real. r/Symphogear. It's just a subreddit. It's not as big compared to others, but it exists. Keywords. These are side notes and stuff that aren't in the actual show itself, but do help provide more information for a lot of things. Symphogear Radio. This is a Japanese-only radio show hosted by Miku and Chris's voice actresses. They usually talk about stuff related to the show and invite other members of the cast on every now and then. Mistaking Kirika's silliness for idiocy. See, the thing is, Kirika's a bit of a silly character, but because of that silliness, a lot of people think she's a complete idiot. This isn't actually true, as Kirika has shown to be smart every now and then. You need to realize that being silly does not equal being an idiot. Flip Flappers fans. It's like the previous Magical Girl ones. This one's just all the way down here because it's the most obscure of all the ones previously mentioned. And now we enter the last tier. This one has a lot of stuff that either you've never heard of or you don't want to know. Anyways, let's begin with Heterofix. Most of these you can find on Wattpad and they're all terrible self-inserts in script format. Moving on. Singing during battle was improvised. Yeah. The entire gimmick of Symphogear was improvised. There was a misunderstanding during pre-production that changed character songs play during battle into characters sing during battle, and then the voice actors singing over the scenes instead of using the stock songs already had was improvised by Minami Takayama, Kande's voice actress. So in other words, she sings in only the first episode, and then she just apologizes to the rest of the voice actresses about making their job harder. Genjuro adopting Chris misconception. Okay, this is one of the more interesting ones, so strap down. See, one of the main bits Suba Chris had against them was the idea that it would be incestual, because under the assumption Genjuro adopted Chris, this would make her and Tsubasa cousins, therefore making the ship kinda, Japan. Though it turns out this was actually just a mistake, and some translators found that there's nothing that actually suggests Genjuro adopted Chris. He may be her legal guardian, but that does not necessarily mean he adopted her. Okay, the next two are far more on the NSFW spectrum compared to Chris Hentai and Maria Dojin, so I'll try to sound as tasteful as I can despite, what I'm talking about. Tsubasa Orca. There are some inappropriate drawings involving Tsubasa and an orca. That's all I will say. Diki. It's the Symphogear equivalent of Ruby Shninas. That's all I will say on that. Anyways, moving on. The r/Symphogear Discord. This is the only sane part of the fandom I have ever seen. It is actually the best part of the community, and you should find it if you can. Tsubasa Harem. This is for the people that just don't care about the shipping wars and just decide to, you know what, give Tsubasa all the girls. Ruby fans that came for a better show. This is my favorite joke in the entire Iceberg. It is absolutely ridiculous just how many people I've met that started Ruby, then started watching Symphogear, and went, wow, Symphogear is just a better version of Ruby. And with that, we wrapped up the Iceberg. Now, there may be a couple of things here and there I may have missed, but I am not going to put literally everything down on this thing or I'll be here forever. Anyways, with that said, thank you for watching. And remember, watch Symphogear.